Be open. Like, what's going to attract something new into our lives is when we have created the white space around us that a new energy could enter. Most people, they say that they are open. Well, Brendon, I'm open, I'm a liberal. Or Brendon, I'm open, I'm a this, or I'm open, I'm that. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean by openness is that if you think about it like spatially, right? Like this room, what makes this room open is the absence of structure. So in your own life, sometimes all that structure that you're trying to build to perfect things, to organize things, to discipline things, to keep everything great, that structure can also blind you or prevent and block out more coming in. So sometimes you need to be okay that your routine doesn't have to be perfect, that your habits don't have to be exact, that what you think needs to happen when you go into that networking experience doesn't need to happen. That dinner out with the girls doesn't have to go a specific way. Especially in social situations, you structure less. Lower your expectation, lower your anticipation, and instead go in with a full openness and trust to that universe, a full openness and trust, a faith that something amazing could come in that you might not have any control about.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
Go watch that old movie, what was it called? Serendipity, with John Cusack, and I can't remember the lady's name in that movie. But it was all about, like, she was in this, she's gonna trust that things are gonna come back around. And it's a beautiful thing. So you have to trust that in your social situations, that things will come into you. Be open to that possibility of things working out. Here's a simple way to do that. I call it the door frame tag. Anytime I walk into a new door in a social situation that matters to me, right? I'm walking in to go meet somebody new, to go to a networking event, to go out with my friends into a bar. When I walk through a door frame, I trigger my mind to say this: what's this gonna be like? There's an enthusiasm. What's this gonna be like? Not like, I know what I want, no, what's this gonna be like? People who are like, what's this gonna be like, have higher curiosity. Thus, they have higher openness and faith and trust that something cool is gonna happen. That's gonna draw people into you. Like that anticipation that something good around here is gonna happen, that's gonna draw people to you, okay? So that openness, that trust, that faith, whatever you wanna call it.
Rule number 2, learn to listen longer.
The second thing we have to do is to learn to listen longer. And I know you're probably like, oh yeah, Brendon, listen, I know I gotta listen. No, I know, but people always say, be a better listener. I say, well, the essence of being a better listener is to listen longer. See, respect is really just a demonstration of listening a little longer. And I think what we have to do is train ourselves to be more patient with people, to listen to them without trying to solve their issue, without trying to input our own story, without trying to figure out the root cause of what's going on for them. I know this as a man, right? When I listen to somebody, especially a female, and she's upset about something, or she's venting about something, or she's complaining about something, or she's just speaking about something that she's very frustrated with, and it comes at me, it's easy. I'm like, I just want to solve it. I want to stop the noise, But that is not a way for me to deepen my relationships. What we have to do is allow people to vent at us a little longer without losing our patience. Matter of fact, some of my best friends in the world, I tell them the 20-minute listening challenge. When they get home, when their spouse comes up to them and starts sharing about the day and wants to talk about a bunch of things, I tell them, just weather that storm for 20 minutes. Just listen for 20 minutes, try not to solve anything. Try to reflect back what they're saying, or just even be quiet and let them just go. And you know what the funniest thing is? After about 20 minutes, almost everybody runs out of gas. Now you say, no, my partner can talk for hours and hours and hours. That might be true, but usually when they first connect with you, when they first see you, when they haven't seen you, there's like 20 minutes of stuff they want, and at the end of 20 minutes, they kind of run out a little bit, and they're like, oh yeah, so how are you? And that's when you say, oh, you know what, it was a really crazy day. Hey, would you mind if I just go get settled? Just give them the 20 minutes. Just when you pull up to your house, if you have to, just sit in the car, center yourself, then go inside the house and let them get you for 20 minutes. Just give them 20 minutes. Just give them 20. You can give them 20 minutes. You love them. Give them 20 minutes, then get yourself settled. But if I think we can learn to allow people more time to talk, we start to find greater connections with people. Often we just cut them off. Often we interrupt them, we tell them what to do, and the worst thing we often do is we say, hey, you shouldn't feel that way, and here's why. Or, hey, why are you feeling that way? And we try to do some root cause analysis when really we could just allow them to express themselves and they'll find their own way. So listen longer.
Rule number 3, give more attention.
The challenge right now, the disconnects in relationships are driven by mostly distraction today. The inability for people to look eye to eye, to feel each other, to sense each other, to be present in the moment. And so what ends up happening when the relationship goes astray, people start trying to, quote unquote, show love to another person. So what do? They go out, they buy flowers. They go out and they buy diamonds. They go out and they say, hey, look, honey, I emptied the trash. Hey, look, honey, I washed your things. Hey, look, honey, I ran your errand for you. And they're trying to say, look, I did something for you. They're trying to show something, a gift to that person, to recreate something, to have that love. But all people want to be shown is attention. And we forget that. They don't need something from you. Jesse Jackson said a long time ago, people don't want your presence, they want your presence. They don't want your gifts, your stuff. They want you, fully engaged, fully charged, fully connected with them again. If you're gonna improve any relationship, all of the improvement will come from a greater degree of attention and presence gifted to that person, to that moment. Learn to be vitally there and present with them again. Learn to have an entire dinner without looking at your phone. Can you do it? Learn to go out for a walk without bringing your phones. Go out and do something together with no phone, no distraction, just the two of you to have a moment together. If you don't think you can do that, then you're addicted and you need to seek digital help, right? It's like, do not tell me that you can't have a conversation. Look, I know you think you're important and we all think we're really important, but let me tell you, there is no person in the world who cannot learn to have a few hours where they can be human again with the people that they love. And that'll be the best gift you can ever give. You want your relationships to be fiery and zesty and spontaneous again? Then those things can only happen in a moment where you're free from other distractions, where you can be with each other, truly experience something. I mean, think about it. The best memories you probably have in all of your relationships were times when the two of you were just kind of in a moment together, where you were truly, fully there, vibrantly connected, in the moment, present together in one way or another. Could be chaos going all around you, but the two of you connected and there was this feeling, there was a sense, there was like, bam. You know, you were there for each other. Attention. You have to have the intention to give extraordinary amounts of attention to the people that you love. By the way, this is so vital because if you don't have attention, think about it. All the ills of relationships come in when people aren't giving themselves attention anymore, right? You can't show respect to somebody unless you give them attention. You can't pick up on their nonverbal cues or guesstimate or feel or sense or mirror their emotions, their energetic level. You don't know if someone is down or up unless you're attentive to them. So all ills in relationships begin with giving better, more present, and vital attention to the person that you love.
Rule number 4, practice positive projection.
Practice positive projection. What that means is you should be assuming the best about your partner and projecting positive traits and ideas onto them. Assume that they are doing their best. Assume that they are thinking of you. Assume that they are trying to do things for you. Assume that at least they're not trying to cause any harm. And this is a tough one, especially if you've been in a relationship a long time, because you've probably already discounted me and this video just because of that piece of advice, right? You say, no, Brendon, you don't understand. My person is always a bastard. You know? My person is always trying to do this to me. They're always trying to do that to me. And hey, look, I don't know your situation. That could be true. But what we do know from relationship science, and it is a science, and you can study communication, you can study the different ways that people connect in their intimacy, in their relationships, in their marriages, and you see over and over and over again that often one partner says something to their other partner, and that person completely blows it up in their mind with this big story about how this other person is, trying to control them. How this other person is clearly belittling them, is clearly being condescending, is clearly hurting them. But when you look at the transcripts of their conversation, you see that the partner over here really just said something very matter-of-factly. And this person who's offended drew all of their past history or some negative parts of the couple's history into that conversation and projected that onto what the person said. In fact, often in conflicts, the person who's the most angry can't remember what the other person even said. They can't recall the exact words. They just said, well, they made me feel this way. And the reality is that person didn't say anything that would, from a third-party standpoint, cue those emotions, would cue that frustration or that anger. But what we all do is we just take what's upset us in the past. We take our old patterns, our old beliefs, our old hurts and our old pains, and we bring them into our relationship with somebody. And especially in a conflict now, we think that somebody's trying to hurt us. We think that somebody's belittling us when the facts of what they said aren't that big of a deal. In other words, we blow things out of proportion because of our past, not necessarily what is being said or displayed right in front of us. So as a rule, the best thing I feel that we can do in our relationships is to practice positive projection. Just assume that the other person is there with you, for you, and in love with you. Think that, what they just said, they're not trying to offend you. They just might be in a bad place. They might be frustrated. They might be tired. They might be distracted. And don't get mad at them. Realize, hey, you know what? This person's doing the best they can. I mean, imagine if we just if we gave a little more patience to those that we loved, and we projected an assumption that they were doing their best, and that they were in love, and that they were with us, and that they were trying. I think that if you're in a relationship that matters, a relationship that's important to you, a relationship you want to stick with, you've got to start assuming better about your partner. You got to give them credit and the benefit of the doubt again, because you've probably been projecting all your negative stuff, your own fears, your own inadequacies, your old upsets, your bad beliefs into the conversations, and it's tearing you apart. So you got to figure that one out. Practice positive projection.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, attend acts of service.
I think for those of you who are really struggling to meet high quality people from your perspective, I can't recommend enough that you get involved with some local organizations that are nonprofit based, and that you start attending more fundraisers, more acts of service. And I know some of you go, I don't have anything, I don't have money to contribute maybe, or I don't have, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, I don't care. Go to a bunch of them and you'll learn what you like. And I will also say this, I know I've been saying this for years, I beat a dead drum a little bit here, but when you go to a fundraiser or you go to a volunteer event, do you know who goes to those? Like you go to a black tie event, like a fundraiser as an example. Do you know who goes there? The most successful, high-achieving, positive, wealthy, influential people in that particular community. People who have something to give, and in their spirit, in their heart says, I play this role in this community where I'm gonna make a difference here. Awesome. I mean, some of my best friends I've met throughout the years, I met either doing the work of contribution or literally on a nonprofit board or at a fundraiser. Because that striving community who wants to make a difference, I can't share with that. But here's the thing, whether you go do that or you don't, the people who are closest to you, if you want to make a difference with them, If you want to deepen that relationship, find a way to make a difference together. Go do something cool that contributes. Go volunteer. I think if you really want the closest friendships imaginable, you go volunteer once a month or once a quarter. You don't wait for it, you schedule it. I want you to be the friend that schedules the contribution. Be that friend. Don't hope that person comes into your life. You're that scheduler. You're that person who sets that up. You're the person that gets them together. Because at some point, they'll take it over. In all of my greatest friendship circles, I tend to be the person who initiates it, and we do something, and then someone says, I'll do it next time. I'm like, great. Just do that. Acts of contribution together.
Rule number 6, just try your best.
Just try. And what I mean by try is try with other people again. I watch people talk at lunch. They're not really trying to be engaged. They're not really there. And it's great that they're comfortable with themselves, but they're going through the motions. And very few things ever happen amazing when two people are just going through the motions. Because our default going through the motions, unless it's imbued by like challenge or presence or vibrancy, usually our default is homeostasis of just like, yeah. And that is not very attractive, okay? That is not something that gets people's attention. What gets people's attention is when you put an effort to listen to them, to be with them, to be present with them, to change the energy between the two of you, for you to spark something. Stop waiting for good energy to come into your life and start generating great energy, and you'll feel the difference. Try with your energy again, right? Really pay attention to people. Be present with them. They'll feel that you're trying, and they'll appreciate it. I'm not saying faking, right? So if it's not authentic and real, don't do it. But you must try more often to show up as your best self into conversations and to try and pull out the best of others. I think the most sexy thing in a person ever is someone who's trying to pull out the best energy from you, right? Whether they're trying to pull out the flirtation of you or pull out the joy of you or the gratitude of you or that positive range of emotions from you, that's pretty sexy. So try to bring out the best of others.
Rule number 7, adore people.
You have to adore people. If you don't adore the person that you are with right now, you have to resummon that up. You have to look for the things in them that will help you do that. And the way to do that, give them more attention, show them more appreciation. When they receive more attention and more appreciation from you, there will be an energetic change in the relationship. It will turn more vibrant, there'll be more pop in it. And all of a sudden, you'll start to notice that person. They come a little more alive around you. And it'll be easier to adore them because you're like, oh, look, I never even noticed they do these things. That's funny. Or, oh gosh, I never noticed they did all these things for me. I have attention to that now, and I appreciate that now. You'll start to adore them more. When you adore the person you're with more, you do things for them. You do more things for them. You want to see them light up. You start supporting their dreams more. Are you doing that? Because real adoration is getting out of your own way and asking, what is it about this person's life that I can support, that they love to do? Because showing real adoration is showing support. Real adoration is not just doting on somebody with flowers and gifts, though you should do that too. It's about wanting to support their bigger life goals, their bigger dreams. When you truly adore somebody, you want so desperately to see them happy and passionate, engaged, living their own fully charged life. When you really adore someone, you go out of your way to brag about them in front of them, right? When they're there and you're in a social situation, you'll compliment them, you'll brag about them, and you'll make them, like if you haven't made your partner, your spouse, your lover, your husband, your wife blush for a while with a good compliment in front of other people, what are you doing? Right? I'm always trying to embarrass my poor lady, but in a positive way, because I'll compliment her in front of other people and she'll be like, I really appreciate you said that about me, because I want her to feel adored. I want everybody in the community, I want everybody in my life to know how much I adore my lady. So do you have that intention for yours, for the person you're with? Does everybody know how much you adore them? Are you bragging them up? Are you really adoring them personally and publicly? When you do that, you'll notice a different level of engagement in that relationship too, and everything will change because they will feel adored, appreciated, and feel like you're giving them attention. So they'll turn it around. Now they'll give you more attention, more appreciation, more adoration, and there'll be this spark And it happens between the two of you that you never imagined that you could have. That is what it feels like to live the charged life.
Rule number 8, support the ones you love.
Literally today, somebody, a friend of mine, reached out about a situation going on in the world that he wanted to support and was asking me for support. And it was a cause that I don't know that much about, but I know he loves this, and this is near and dear to his heart. And I can learn from it, and so I support it. I think of all the time, like, what does my wife love? Oh, she loves that, that thing. She loves design. She loves that show. She loves these people. She loves this experience. Okay. How can I serve that up? Because if you serve up what other people love, or you honor it, respect it, cheer it on, support it in some way, the depth of that relationship becomes tangible. And now there's energy there because they feel the 3 things that everybody needs to feel. They feel understood. They feel validated. They feel celebrated to live their own life. So if you can understand other people, if you can validate them, if you can celebrate what they like and what they love, their obsessions, versus making them have to do what you do, life is so much easier. I'll tell you an example. Years ago, Denise and I started working together, and we had a podcast at the time, HVX podcast. I think we did maybe like 10, 20 episodes, maybe. I can't remember what it was. And it was just super clear that this was not something that she loved. And we didn't love doing it really together the way that we thought we would. And it was like, let's call that. So we just ended it. Didn't worry about what people thought, didn't worry about the business, didn't worry about it. It was like, oh, that's not something we love doing together. Let's not do that. There's things that I love in my life, totally not her jam. Things that she loves, totally not my jam. But we cheer it on. We support it. And it creates that depth and that closeness of relationship. And if you don't have that with other people, guess what? You don't get to complain. It's your job to have that difficult conversation. It's your job to bring it up, to make a plan, to work through it, even if that takes weeks or years to shift your mutual behaviors in that relationship. Don't give up on the person just because they don't get you. Because guess what? It's not their job to get you. It's not your job to get you. But if you want to have a graceful, deep, intimate, connected relationship, it's now time. What do they love and how can I support that? How can I let them be their thing? Let them, fly their flag, be their weirdness, and cheer them on in whatever way that makes sense because it makes them happy. What does your spouse, your partner, your coworkers love to do? In my companies, I never am like, you have to be this role. I'm like, what do you like to do? First, always like, what do you like? Well, I don't like this, I want to do that. I'm like, oh, well, let's try to figure out a plan to get you more towards that. And that's always been my thing. Oh, you like that? You want to do more of that? Okay. And that makes a team feel heard and seen and recognized. And if they complain and they don't like something, then it's like, oh, can I shift that for them? Because that's their vibe. You got to figure that out.
Rule number 9, don't expect others to be like you.
I do not expect other people to think or feel or experience life like me. It just isn't there. I don't think my team members should think like me or are like me. I don't think that my spouse is anything like me. She has her own universe of emotions and feelings. They're very different than mine. Trust me, way different. I think my family, my friends, it's like there's no, for me, demand that they think like me. It doesn't mean I don't get frustrated that we don't have a good relationship, or I don't like their communication, or I don't like something they said, or I feel neglected or hurt. We all have those things. The question is, over a period of time, do you have depth and closeness in that relationship? I promise there's a ton of things, Denise, my spouse, she would say that she doesn't like about how I think or how I experience the world. And I would say the same about her. But the question isn't, do we like everything that we say? The question is there depth and closeness and intimacy in our relationship? And that only happens if enough times you realize the person is different than you. Different preferences, different hopes, different needs. Like I'm probably needier than my wife is in terms of like emotional stuff. I just, the way I am. And you might be different than your spouse, your friend, your dad, your mom, someone who raised you. And if you're trying to cram the world with this expectation that they got to be, think, and behave exactly like you, that is where there is a ripping of that relationship. You got to let other people have their own life. And the more you try to control their life, the more misery you have. A lot of mental health is letting other people live their life, not trying to control everything. You know what mental illness is? When you feel like you must control everything.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is stay in your job in the relationship.
I think it's really important to stay in your job in a relationship. And I don't mean by your employment, right? You can quit your job, but don't quit the relationship. But what's your job in a relationship? It's to love. And it's so easy to forget that because we get mad at somebody and they didn't run the task or empty the garbage or take out the dishes. Wait, I think I got that backwards. But they forgot something and we get mad at them and we forget our job there is to love. And if you're really going to choose love over choosing your past, or you're going to choose love over fear or hurt or pain, or choose love over being, right, then you're gonna start to find something switches in that relationship, and it's a good thing. See, most people aren't choosing love, they're choosing fear. Most people aren't choosing love, they're choosing hurt. And because of that, over and over and over again, that simple choice in the relationship, they're not approaching the relationship with the intention of love. Right? If you can approach your relationship with the intention of love to say, look, I'm just gonna keep bringing joy and love and acceptance and compassion and empathy and vibrancy and sensuality to this relationship, and you're always doing that more often than you're bringing the negative stuff, that relationship will suddenly start to turn positive. It will get easier as you change your intentions to be more geared towards love. That's your job. Stay in your job in the relationship, to love this person, to make their day, to surprise them, to care for them. Stop asking so much what you're getting from the relationship and how they've done you all wrong, and start asking, what have you been doing right? What have you been doing to add value, love, energy, vibrancy, sensuality to their life? What have you been doing to love them? Ask the question, how can you deliver more love to your partner and to the world? And you might start to experience what we call the charged life. Well, imagine like last night, I'm going on the stage, right? If my identity says I am a public speaker, and it is important for me to be excellent at this, and then I go on stage and I bomb, what does that say about me as a person? So we've got about 50 years of work in psychology, the field of psychology, saying do not tie your efforts to your identity, because that risk of disappointment or rejection, if the task fails, you shouldn't take that as a defining moment in which you say, I am a failure. Right? So that's the risk, and that's what psychologists tell us to be wary of. Except it turns out that high performers flip that on its face and go, well, actually, no, I do get bothered if it fails. I really get upset about it. I am attached to the process here. I do care if it turns out well. I mean, that's why they obsess about the details. That's why they care about excellence. It's like, no one obsesses about the details or cares about excellence unless it means something to them. And there is a risk. The risk is you over-attach to the process or the outcome with your identity, so that if the process or outcome goes bad, now you feel bad about yourself as a human, and now you stop your progress. But I also tell people, there's a balance there. I actually wish more people would attach some identity to what they're doing. They wouldn't go through the motions as much. I mean, I think what the world needs less of is half-interested parents who don't have an identity that says, you know what? I'm gonna be an excellent parent. I think we have a lot of CEOs or business people or entrepreneurs who they've never stepped in and said, you know what? I'm a CEO. I own this business. I am responsible for paying the bills. I am responsible for making the money. I'm responsible for all these people's mortgages who work for me. I want them to own the identity of a CEO, because most of them, if you ask them about their identity and their business, they're kind of like, you come to find, they're kind of approaching it like not even hobbyists. it's like, if you want to win, your identity has to be tied into that thing in which you are trying to succeed at and give to. And that takes a lot of guts to put yourself all in for something, but who's ever contributed something with tremendous impact without being all into it? I've never seen it. So I think the message of the book, you're right, I'll get some flack from a lot of psychologists say, don't tell people to tie more of their identity. Or my friends who are Buddhists will say, but attachment is the form of all suffering. Brendon, have you not read your spiritual texts? I'm like, look out, calm down. I've hung out with the Dalai Lama. I'm totally cool. But what I'm trying to tell you is even the Dalai Lama has a connection with himself as a spiritual leader. His identity is still there. That people, assume that, we have to release ourselves from having any attachment to something. But I'm like, I think we all want to be present and engaged fully in the things that we are doing in our lives. And that's going to require us to say psychologically, you know what, I am all in this. That's what I'm about.
What we found in our research, which surprised me, high performers do not report working on their strengths any more than regular people. Mm-hmm. So that's not what gives them the edge. One of the chapters opens up with this guy who wrote this email, really highly successful guy. And he wrote this email to me, says, and I'd put him through all this. I put him through StrengthsFinder, the Berkman, the Colby, the Myers-Briggs, put him through everything. This is one of my first coaching clients ever. I knew everything about him. We knew all his background, we did all the homework, had his peer review, his 360 assessments from work. And then I watched him fail for 2 years. And he wrote me this email and he said, Brendon, stop telling me like what successful people are like, because we know my strengths, I'm not getting ahead, and start telling me what they do. And that's what this book became about. It's like, what do you need to do? Because, and in this email he wrote this, which is where that finding came from. He said, this was so good. Listen to this line. He said, as a leader, I have to be honest with myself that my mission and vision should never be made to bow down to my limited human strengths. I should have to rise up to my mission or vision. The strengths aren't the relevant thing. The question is, what is necessary for me to develop into to reach that mission? It's like, your strengths are great. And it's like, yes, of course do your strengths. But that's kind of like, what I tell people is like, let's imagine you have a bear, and that bear wants to go on top of this cliff over here, and it's never been on the cliff, and it wants to get that new honey up there, right? Telling the bear to focus on the strengths, to go somewhere it's never gone before and do something it's never done before is stupid. It's like saying, hey, you know what? Just try being more of a bear.
Right.
If you say, Brendon, I got this big new vision. I just say, just try being more of Lewis. I mean, it's at a spiritual level that feels good. But you and I both know you're going to have to develop far beyond your comfort zones.
Yeah.
And strengths are typically comfort zones.
Yeah.
We got to overcome that and go to the next level.
And develop new skills and overcome certain fears and all these other things that are going to help us get to the next level. Is that right? Or?
Yeah. The whole conversation of beyond the comfort zone really requires us to go beyond our strengths.
Most people don't have a calendar. So that's problem number one. They're not strategically blocking time, moving towards the major things they want in their life. They won't say they're going through the motions, but the calendar reveals it. Like if I parachute in their life and I open up their calendar and there's nothing there, they can't possibly say they're living with purpose or intention. And that sounds so flippant to say, but I can't believe how many people, they're not planning their skill set development. They're not planning specific goal attainment on certain dates. So just like their calendar's completely empty and they're hoping it's gonna happen. And it's like, if you look at mine, it's like military-esque like planning. Like I'm going to hit these goals. It's going to happen. Big biases I had that were wrong. And you're not gonna like this one, and no one's going to like it. But creativity is not strongly correlated with high performance. I would have, 3 years ago, I would argue. I mean, I would have been passionately argued against, because I'm a creative.
Yeah.
This is my life. I write, I train, I speak. That's what I would have argued forever. I've designed all the covers of my books.
Yeah.
I mean, I dork out about design. I design all my web pages. I believe that creativity must give the edge, and it does give an edge in certain circumstances for sure. But I interviewed a Fortune 50 CTO, Chief Technology Officer. Unbelievably high-performing people. Their stock's off the roof. But what he said, he goes, Brendon, I'm not a creative person. My team isn't particularly creative.
But long-term success matters just as much about execution and consistency and showing up as the creative edge. The creative edge might get you in the game, because remember, high performance is long-term success. We're not studying initial success. It's very, initial success, grit, creativity, originality, all these things, very important. The spark that gets you in the game, for sure. But even Jim Rohn said, motivation gets you in the game, habits keep you there. And creativity as a habit, the spark that might be called original creativity, it might only happen for us every 2 to 3 years. So that's not sufficient. We got to show up on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Execution is more important as an example. So we talk about the kinds of creativity that actually matter, but it's not strongly correlated almost across all industries. And I would have completely argued with that.
Why do you think people can slip into an obsession over Netflix or whatever, or thread count, but they don't do that for something that could really change their life?
Feedback.
That's interesting. It's not what I expected you to say. What do you mean by that?
Because, buying something or getting pulled into Netflix, being obsessed about something that gives you no feedback is not scary. A real obsession, like trying to make an impact in the world, you're gonna get feedback. You try to make a difference in somebody's life, they're gonna tell you, that doesn't resonate with me, Brendon. You try to make a difference in a nonprofit, you try to change the world, you try to start something like this, and the views come or they don't come, there's feedback. And people are terrified. It's one of the 4 central fears we all have is rejection. We're terrified, to be rejected. And think about, if you really want to make an impact, you're going to get a lot of judgment, you're gonna get a lot of hate, and ultimately you're gonna get rejection. People are gonna just diss on you, people are gonna say that's not good enough, people are gonna say, who do you think you are? And people are so worried about that they stop. And so it's easier. Things that don't give you feedback. Watching Netflix don't give you no feedback. It's easy. There's no disappointment there. Even if you don't like the show, what do? You just go on to the next show. There's no disappointment there. I think trying to make an impact, there's a lot of disappointment and fear and potential for rejection. So people don't get obsessed about making a difference and making an impact because it can hurt. People always say, well, Brendon, I lost my motivation. I'm like, you didn't lose your motivation. You forgot to show up in the morning, look and think and feel, what is it you are fighting for? See, you just show up and sometimes you check your inbox and you look on social media or you listen to that podcast or even you do your workout, but you're not thinking and obsessing, what is it I'm fighting for in my life right now? Or who is it I am fighting for? Because if you begin your day grounded in what you find to be purposeful, meaningful, important, fulfilling, and you say, what is it I'm fighting for? Why am I showing up? Why is it necessary that I deliver with excellence today? And you really emotionally get connected to something. That's the challenge. People are losing their motivation because they're not emotionally connected to anything. Outside of the outrage on social media, outside of the outrage of the news, they're losing that fire inside that wants to build something, create something, deliver something, overcome something. So now they're just focused on everybody else. And the real thing is they didn't lose their motivation, they got distracted. 2 different things, right? If you're really connected with what you are doing and why you are doing it and who you are doing it for specifically, everything changes and you'll overcome even the distractions. I've written 6 books now. I have been surrounded by so many critics and so many judgments. We have 200 million video views on my videos online. Guess what? A lot of the people were haters. But instead of seeing them and getting angry about it, I just see it and it's like, swipe, it doesn't affect me anymore. Part of maturity is getting that point where you can see criticism and see hatred and not make it your own. Not make it about your identity, to allow other people's opinions and judgments to live out there because they're not gonna go away. You need to accept that. The criticisms, the judgments, the hatred, it's not going away. You'll probably only hear more of it as you grow, even as you get more fame or more people liking you or more people accepting you or you get promoted. People ultimately will support you as you get momentum, but people will still hate you. So if you don't deal with it now, if you don't make a switch in your mind that says, either I'm gonna limit my exposure to them or I'm gonna change how I react to them, you will always be slave to other people's opinions, and that is not a life of freedom that you want to live. You gotta let go of those things that upset you 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. If you're an adult and you're still angry and pissed about things that happened to you in high school, you need a therapist. And I say that with all sincerity and all respect. If you're having mental thoughts that are coming from a place that are literally based 5, 10, 20 years ago that you just didn't deal with yet, you need help dealing with it. And you need to get yourself a meditation practice or a therapist or into some kind of way that you're on a consistent basis letting things go. Here's what I do. Every Sunday, I go, okay, what was I pissed about this last week? What really bothered me? Okay, I gotta let that go. Because you can't keep charging into the next week angry from last week. You gotta let it go. You gotta find a clean slate for yourself so that your soul can expand and can be positive and can be ambitious and motivated and serving the next week. Because listen, anger after anger after anger, hatred after hatred after hatred, criticism after criticism after criticism, rejection after rejection after rejection, outrage after outrage after outrage, it weighs you down. So you've gotta change how much of that you're taking in, and you've got to make sure every single week you're doing some kind of like mental detox to let that stuff go. And instead of cultivating the anger, cultivate the gratitude, cultivate the enthusiasm, and you can change your life. So what if your parents don't support you? Who cares if your team doesn't support you? Who cares if your friends think you're crazy? Who cares if nobody in this world sees your dream? It is not your parents or your professors or your peers or the world's job to support your dream. That's your dream. That dream was sowed into your heart. That dream was given to you to nurture, to protect, to fulfill. It's not somebody else's job. So if your parents don't like your idea, you don't have to live your life to please just your parents. If your friends think you're crazy, it's not your job to make all of your friends think that you're sane. If your professors or the people in your community think, oh my gosh, you're just reckless and crazy and stupid, it's not your job to prove that you're smart to them. Your job is to fulfill that heart's desire. Your job is to fulfill that part of you that is begging you and pleading you to follow your dreams, to follow your heart, to create your thing. So first and foremost, don't think that it is everybody else's job to support you. It's not everybody else's job to cheer you on, to give you money, to invest in you, to pat you on the back every time you walk into your house at night and you did a good job. It's okay that other people have a different vision for themselves than you do. Just like you don't need to judge other people because you don't like their dreams, their desires, or the way they live their life or do their 9 to 5, then you shouldn't worry if they judge yours. And that's the first thing I always tell people is it is not other people's responsibilities to support you or to believe in you. And I know that. You know, when I wrote my first book, no one believed me. I quit my 9 to 5 job and everyone goes, well, you're so crazy to quit this job. Who are you to be a writer? You're a dumb kid. And it's true, who was I to be a writer? But I didn't worry what other people thought or if their judgment was approval for me to go ahead. In my heart, I knew I wanted to write. I wanted to create. And that desire was what I listened to, not other people's judgments or opinions. And remember, most other people's opinions are completely uninformed opinions about you. So I say, first and foremost, own your dream. It's yours, your job to cultivate. It's okay if nobody else believes you.
The other thing that fascinates me that you've written about high performers is this strive for perfection, where high performers can often be hard on themselves.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear your perspective on this. It's this difference between the pressure that we place on ourselves versus complacency.
Yeah.
Because I think right now we're hearing a bit of both out there on social media and everywhere. And a lot of people are confused. It's like, do I really go hard on myself? And am I really disciplined? And am I really harsh to myself? Or actually, do I just let it go and just let it flow and let it happen? And, you know, I want to hear what your research on the high performers said when it came to perfection versus progress.
Yeah, there's no question they're more into progress than perfection. There's no question. There's like zero question that they are working on the things that move the needle in their life. So they're focused on the things that matter most. So they're good at wheeling out distractions. But you know what I always tell people is like, if you think you're a perfectionist, you're probably lying. And the reason that is, and that people hate when I say that, but if you look it up in the book, in the dictionary, it's like perfection. Like if you actually look up perfection or to perfect, it comes from that root word to perfect. To perfect does not mean it's done. To perfect means like two things happen in that connotation of to perfect. First, it has to be an iteration or a start. It has to be done in like first draft. To perfect it means take it from being done, being released, being out there, being, where you feel like it's a start, and then to perfect it, to keep working on it, to keep iterating on it. And what perfectionists always say, here's what they really say. Well, I haven't started yet because I'm a perfectionist and I'm only going to do it if I can get it completely right. No, you're lying. There's a difference between perfecting and being fearful.
Yes.
And what most perfectionists are is they're scared. They're scared to start and scared not to get it right. So they don't even begin.
Yeah.
A real perfectionist is so in friggin' motion. They're perfecting, they're beating it up, they're iterating, they're dialing it in, and they are active at it. To perfect requires an active improvement. And most people who say they're perfectionists are actually dead stop fear. People are scared to start their big dreams because they fear their dream won't work out. They think, oh, well, Brendon, what if I do all that work and, on the other side of things, the grass isn't greener. I went through all that work and I put my heart and I put my soul into it, Brendon. It doesn't work. And how will I feel about myself? And, I have responsibilities to my family or to other people. And I do all the things that doesn't turn out. And they're so scared it's not going to work. And that's why I say, my friend, get yourself a mentor. Get yourself a plan. Get yourself in the proximity of someone who's done it before so they can guide you, so they can cheer you on. Of course, you're going to fear it's not going to work out if you can't see where it's going to go, if you can't see how other people have gotten there. So read their biographies, study their process, read their books, take their courses, engage their material, ask the questions. There's so many, the world is full of mentors that you can access with a direct message now. Use that. Ask the questions. There's seminars, there's live events, there's online courses everywhere available for you. There's a bajillion TED Talks. There's a bajillion biographies. Why aren't you consuming more of those to understand people's emotional journey, to understand their process, to understand the big decisions that they made, to understand their regrets, to understand their lessons? Of course you're scared to start if you haven't seen the illuminated journey of others. But once you see the map they took, once you hear their process, once you learn the mistakes they made, now that emboldens you. Your mind goes, oh, I got a little more clarity here. With more clarity comes more confidence. With more clarity, confidence, momentum, you'll go after that, my dream, my friend. No matter how small you start something that matters.
Why are you so good at relationships? Like, what are a few of the things that make you bond with people as quickly as you do?
I always come back to, there must be an intention there. So the intention, where did the intention come from? So the intention for me came from, when I was on my deathbed, and in, 2 times in my life I thought I was going to die. And the one that gave me the greatest gift was the did I love part of did I live, did I love, did I matter? I saw scenes of my life. When I thought I was going to die, I saw scenes of my life when I was surrounded by the people that I loved. And my instant feeling was, I'm going to miss them. And they're going to miss me. And I'm dying, and that's so sad. And that was as important as, did I live my life or did I make a difference? It was like, I'm so sad. And I got that as a 19-year-old kid. Like, a breakup of a relationship sent me into suicide. That realization was like, oh my God, at the end, all you're gonna wonder is about your family and your friends and the people you loved, and all they're gonna miss you. So I got early that one of the objectives of this game has to be deep relationships. High performers, they kind of know the service they want to bring to the world. That's why I was like, Jay's gonna smash this. Because you were so humble, you were like, I've only been doing this X amount of time, Brendon. But you already knew you wanted to make wisdom go viral, and you knew what was true to you. You knew the type of purpose you wanted to make, and you're still seeking that out and clarifying like we all are. But high performers know the service they want to give to the world. And they don't know it exactly or perfectly, but they're intentionally moving towards that. And so for those who are like, I don't know if I have clarity, I'm like, okay, get clarity about yourself a little more, about how you want to treat people and be with people, about what you need to develop and how you want to give or serve. And if you focus on that, like every day, every week, you're conscious of those 4 things. One day, you're just so much more confident and clear. You need to learn versus judge when it comes to your behaviors and your results in life. So here's what I'd love you to do. Start a Sunday review. And every Sunday, all I want you to do is sit down and really evaluate how you showed up this last week. I mean, how did you really show up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? What situations did you do good in? What situations could you have done better in? What did you learn about yourself? And use that review session not to beat yourself up, not to say, I wish I woulda, coulda, not to be mad at yourself, not to stir self-talk that's filled with self-hatred, but rather to say, okay, what did I really learn about who I am and what I prefer in life? What did I really learn about what I like? What did I learn about the best of me? And what did I learn about the go through the motions me? Where did I feel down? Where did I feel confident? And start experimenting with how you view yourself by better doing a job of reviewing your week. I think one reason people don't have as confident mentality as they should is because they're just barreling through week after week after week after week, kind of blind and dumb to how far they've grown. But if you can, instead of judging yourself and like, I sucked yesterday, you can every week have a real self-evaluation session. How did I do? What did I learn? And in that personal development where you can look at yourself objectively, without judging, without being mad, without giving it negative labels, and just go, how did I do? What did I learn? What could I have done better? Oh, I could have done this. And just kind of observe how you're going through your life. And then tell yourself, okay, next time I'll do this. And next time I'll do this. And next time I'll do that. That's a learning mentality versus a judgment mentality. A judgment mentality was, I was an idiot. I was stupid. I didn't like myself. I look stupid. People are gonna make fun of me. They're gonna hate me. That judgment self-talk is why you have so little self-confidence. Because most people spend most of their time criticizing themselves. Their self-talk is so negative instead of learning oriented. And as soon as you switch from a negative standpoint to a learning standpoint, disappointment goes away, embarrassment goes away, self-hatred goes away, and you start just learning your way into the new and strongest you. All I want to do, and what I realized early on from reading personal development books, is your life creates a ripple. And so I'm always trying to realize that maybe I can make somebody smile today, and now when they go home, they're nicer to the kid. That's a real thing. And so I treat people with that recognition, because I don't know if you ever, sometimes when someone treats you bad, it really does mess up the rest of your day. And I had people beat me when I was a kid. I got in fights when I was a kid. I was in martial arts most of my life. So I've just had super violent things happen in my life. I've had a lot of drama with relationships early in my life. And I'm talking pre-20s. And I just wanted to be the positive ripple.
Transitions takes place in the chapter of generate energy, and also maybe it's in productivity too. And it has this it's just a conversation that if you're go all the time, you're depleting energy all day and you don't know it. And lots of people think to get more energy or be more productive, they have to radically change their life. I'd better work out an extra 60 minutes in the morning. It's actually, let me teach you the mastery of managing transitions. When you go from one activity to another, I want to teach you this simple thing, and that is release tension, set intention. Very simple. Let me give you an example because it really helps. If you're doing email, and that takes one part of your psyche and brain to do a lot of email, and now you're gonna go create that keynote or that PowerPoint presentation that you want to be flowing and visual and beautiful, very different things. What most people do is they'll do their email, and then they'll work a little on the presentation, then the notification will come over here, and then they'll go back to the email, and then and they're multitasking.
Yes.
And they're wrecking not only their measurable creativity, but their long-term performance. And so what you have to do is, when you finish the email, stop it, okay? Maybe go get some water, come back, or whatever, even if you don't, all I want you to do, push away from your chair for a minute, close your eyes, repeat the word release with the goal of releasing tension in your body, and repeat the word release to yourself several times, over and over, like a mantra, okay? Just repeat. It could be 60 seconds, it can be 1 minute, it can be 2 minutes, whatever you want to do. Just do it until you feel like your body and your mind release a little bit. Then, before you open your eyes, set an intention. Say, okay, Brendon, you're going to work on this keynote now. Your intention is to make something that grabs them right at the beginning, and then make it really move fast, and make it make it visual, and make sure that it builds emotionally throughout the thing. So when you make a call to action at the end, bam, and then open my eyes. Now work on the presentation. I'm clean and free from the previous activity.
Yes.
And people will feel an unbelievable amount of energetic, just power come back from there. I worked with a major founder in the startup Silicon Valley world, flew me down at 3 a.m. I guess it was around after midnight on a private jet. It was just this crazy. He was having a lot of trouble, just exhausted, literally depleted. This person's incredibly well valued in his company, lots of employees, everyone knows who the person would be, but miserable. Just go, 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 go. And I said, well, and one of his major things was he was wrecking his relationship with his wife and his children. Not because he was maybe just overworking. He would just carry a lot of the work into his house.
Yep.
So one of these times I said, I want you to pull up to your house after the day of working. Don't get out of the car. Pull up the house, just close your eyes, repeat the mantra, release to yourself, maybe for 5 minutes. And then before you open your eyes, set the intention. How do you want to be with your wife when you enter the house? What kind of dad do you want to be to your daughter? Just set that intention. Open up your eyes. Now go in as a different man. And it changed his life. His email to me is in the book.
I read it. It's fantastic.
It just works. That means just release tension,
Yep.
set intention. It's just your transitions are where most people's bleeding out their energy and they don't know. And if we can just get you 4 or 5 times of transition really well throughout the day, you finish your day like, I feel amazing.
Yes.
And we didn't caffeinate you. We didn't do anything. We just changed how you approach your work.
High performers develop influence more than those around them. It's not because they're cool. It's not, I mean, look at me. I'm not getting ahead on my cool factor here, ladies and gentlemen. I just got these new Nikes. I walk in the store. I walk in the store. I was like, what's your newest shoe? They're like, these ones. I'm like, I need that. And they're like, why? I'm like, because Lewis has sneaks, man. I wear suits or like, I'm either on stage in a suit or at my studio, kind of like, kind of formal too.
Sure.
I was like, man, I gotta get some sneaks.
Oh, they look good, man.
I said, give me your newest sneak. So I'm not getting ahead on the cool. I don't develop influence because I'm cool. It's not your personality that gives you influence.
Yeah.
It's how you treat other people. And specifically the way that high performers gain influence is this way too much?
No, I'm loving it. Get it. How you treat other people.
Here's how you develop influence. If you really want high level of influence, obviously you got to do all the basics, treat people nice, be kind. And in the book, what I do is with each habit, I say, here's the basics, but then I go, here's what the needle mover practices are. The highest performing influencers, what they're doing, often they don't know they're doing it, by the way. The first thing they're doing is they're teaching people how to think. A lot of your show gained influence, I really believe, because you're really good at teaching people how to think.
Thank you.
You're shaping their mindset, but high performers are really doing it explicitly, and you do this too, where you say, here's how to think about that, guys. Or high-performing leaders tell their team, here's how we should be thinking about ourselves. Here's how we should be thinking about the competition. Here's how we think about the future of the company. They're saying it. They're explicit more often. Here's how to think. I mean, what is it? The 7th most read book in the history of the world is Think and Grow Rich.
Crazy.
It became that way because he taught people how to think about money. We have to tell our audience how to think about things. The second thing they're doing is they're challenging people. And they're challenging in a specific way. If you listen to a great orator, a great speaker, the pros, the one I know, I'm like, oh, this person's studied speech before, is they challenge the audience in 3 ways. They challenge the audience's character. Then they challenge the audience's connections, their relationships. Then they challenge the audience's contributions, what they're giving. You hit all 3 of those, the audience is like, I have to listen to her. I have to listen to him. Because not only are they shaping how I should be thinking, because maybe I was thinking wrong, but now they're pushing me because, it's just like a great coach. The greatest coaches, they're not just saying throw the ball better. They're like, Lewis, you're a better man than that. Come on, man. They're saying, look, you're treating your team like crap. They're look, you're not contributing to the team here. That's a different challenge than just throw the ball faster or catch So I studied that from them, but those are the primary things. And the third thing, of course, is role modeling. standing. I mean, if I'm the bring the joy guy, or I'm the honor the struggle guy, or I'm the high performance guy, and I'm off my game, people are going to know that. you know? So I'm always trying to role model what I do, which is hard when you're talking about high performance, because everyone thinks, well, don't you have a bad day? I'm like, dude, I have bad moments. I wouldn't say bad days, because I don't want to go to bed and feel like the day was bad. But at the same time, I think that's why they're developing influence.
I get up in the morning, I drink 20 ounces of water, I do 20 minutes of mobility, movement, and stretching every morning. Then I read for 20 minutes, something positive. For me, it's almost always a self-help book or a leadership book, almost always. Sometimes a business book, almost always self-help and leadership. Read that book. Then I go and I sit down with my high performance planner, my green tea. I fill out the day, right? I look at the blocks of time that are already scheduled. And then what I do is my second visualization, which is I look at the major blocks of time that have been scheduled, just like this morning, and I close my eyes and I think, how do I do that thing with excellence? What would make that thing special? So this morning, before I got here, when I thought about this, because there you go, my high performance planner, impact theory, Tom Bilyeu, oh yes, 3 exclamation points, literally. So I looked at the schedule, I closed my eyes, and I thought, okay, what do I want to communicate on Tom's show? How do I want that to feel? What do I want to communicate? So I literally closed my eyes and I visualized those blocks of time. And how would I do them well? That's a superpower. Most people write their day out, and they just go about the day, and then sometimes they come back to the plan and they go, oh my God, I didn't even do it. Because I sit there and I think about, how do I do that well? That's a game changer.
In terms of clarity, what is that habit that you take on a daily or monthly basis with clarity? What do you think about? You're like, every morning, what am I clear about? Or, how do you apply that habit to your life?
I apply it in a couple ways. First, for me, every situation I go into, I'm consistently asking, like, what's the feeling I want to have here? If you ever see me teach, it's often, I would say, bring the joy. So I have joy triggers that I've set up in my mind that makes me more intentional about things. So for example, I have a door frame trigger. Whenever I walk through a door, I say, bring the joy. So when I walk through that door right there, it's like, bring the joy into this room. It's just a mental trigger that I've set up for myself. Every morning in the shower, I ask myself 3 questions. And not that I shower every morning, but the ones I do, the first question I say, what can I be excited about today? So it forces me to be clear about what's going to draw joy, enthusiasm from me. Number 2, I say, what might trip me up today? Because usually I know what's going on in the day. I'm like, what might mess me up? Where I might not perform well? What might bother me? And number 3, I say, what can I do to surprise somebody today? To give a gift of appreciation or acknowledgement today. And so I think through that in the morning. So I think that helps me begin my day pretty clear. Then when I sit down before I do work, I literally look at my calendar of the day. I did this morning, and I look at whatever's going on the day, and I think about it for 20 minutes. It's one of my 20-minute routines in the morning. I literally think about my calendar for 20 minutes a day. And people think that's crazy, but what I'm thinking through when I'm looking at the calendar, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have that call. What do I want to happen on that call? What's my intention for that call? What's my goal for that call? What's the feeling for that call? How do I want to end that call? I'm going to have that time with Lewis. Like, how do I want to be there? And how can I make sure I enjoy it? Because it's a big deal. I love your show. I want to do a good job. I want to share something good for the people, even though I have no idea what you're going to ask in this. I want to be present for that and make sure I'm really there, even though maybe I have a head cold today. It's like it's like just thinking through it. I think that helps me. It keeps me asking questions. Every Sunday, I do a life arenas assessment. That just means I think there's 10 areas of our life, and I score myself in them. And this is about my 11th year of doing this.
Wow.
So each area of my life, from emotional quality to happiness to relationships to time to hobby, etc. I just give myself a score of 1 to 10. And 1 means I suck, and I was horrible in the previous week on that. 10 means I did a good job. And then I ask, how can I do better? It's my Sunday routine. And it just keeps me clear. And it's not like I don't sometimes, like everyone else, wonder what's going on or what I'm doing. But those habits, those were my habits You have to establish your own for seeking clarity. But when you have them, you weaponize your life.
High performers are not dissatisfied strivers. They're not. They're happy. High performers are happier than their peers. We all believe that to get the top, it's gonna be lonely at the top, and we all believe you have to grind and kill yourself to get there.
Yeah.
And that's completely wrong, and the data proves it worldwide, which is, I think, just overcoming a lot of people's biases about how you work today, because right now, especially today, like, grind on social media is so popular.
Or hustle.
And it, by the way, none of the top 15% of high performers worldwide identify with those words. They literally don't. We asked them, we did a whole keyword analysis.
Yep.
This was actually pretty cool. And high performers explicitly say, these are the 3 driving feelings. If we said there was a high performance state, it's driven from these 3 things. Number 1, full engagement.
Yes.
Number 2, joy.
Yes.
And number 3, confidence.
Yes.
That's what they relate with, okay? That's where it's coming from. It's a joyous journey, not a dissatisfied one. And I had this conversation in the book because I'll kind of maybe frame it this way. Each of these chapters opens with a vignette of somebody I worked with or a situation that I was in that demonstrated high performance. In this particular situation, I'm walking on a stage, thousands of people, after a very famous musician was out there and was telling the audience that person's secret to success, remember, thousands of people, their secret to that person, their whole speech, their secret to success was never settle. Never settle. Nothing is enough. Never settle. And never be satisfied. Never be satisfied. Always demand more. And I'm like, oh, my second slide, which was gonna be on Jumbotrons in like 80-point text, was strive satisfied. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to dispel this for all these thousands of people. I was totally freaked out.
Yeah.
But what I had to explain to people was not only the data, but it's this. If you're never satisfied, I mean, is it true that life is precious? If it's true that life is precious, and you could be gone tomorrow, do you really want to think, you know what, I just never felt fulfilled? I never allowed myself to have a moment of credit. I never allowed myself to have a moment of peace. I never allowed myself to look at that and say, good job. That's not the way to live life.
Right.
I think just at a spiritual level, it's a bad move. And this book doesn't really go into a lot of that. It's more about the science and the heart stuff. But I think it's really important that people realize your job is to strive satisfied. And if you strive satisfied more often, you will be more of a high performer. And if you never give yourself credit, you're always beating up on yourself, you're always thinking that's not perfect enough, then what's gonna happen? Dissatisfied people burn out and they quit more often than satisfied strivers. So take joy in the moment, engage with what you're doing, allow credit and satisfaction and joy to come in. You can always be improving.
Of course.
But be improving joyfully.
Yes.
And if you're improving joyfully, then you're learning, you feel curious, you feel engaged, the joy is there, you'll get more confident because you're like, I'm gonna learn through this anyway, this is gonna be great. Because this thing is all over social media right now, like, grind, work, whatever. And I'm like, it's popular and I see why that happens and I see why it's catchy. It's just not scientifically valid.
Yeah.
What does that rebuilding process look like for somebody who's trapped in depression and suicidal thoughts?
Yeah. I've been there a lot in my life, especially before my car accident, my teenage years. Then the first woman I ever loved, we had a big breakup, and that breakup sent me down in depression and suicidal planning. And it's tough to dispense advice to people other than get help. And I'll share why. Because that time in my life, I had so many people coming up to me. My friends would come into my dorm room and, Brendon, let's go do something. And the hope is lost. And what people, I think, make the mistake of trying to do is hype people up. Everything's gonna be okay, you're gonna be great. And what people need who are suicidal is serious psychological intervention. They need to seek support and help. And outside of that, when they do get that support, the first thing a great therapist is going to do, outside of the emotional reflection work of why are you here and what has caused this sort of pattern for you, they're going to get you starting to get some momentum. The most important thing is when you are super down, outside of finding that emotional reasoning for where you are, is to start getting momentum. Because with momentum comes hope. With momentum comes motivation. With momentum comes, that feeling that there's a reason for tomorrow. And so it's as simple as just saying, okay, what are 3 things I'm going to do today? And I don't mean that like a lot of personal development guys would say, like, what are your 3 big goals for the day? Rawr! I'm like, dude, sometimes that first goal is, I'm going to shower today. I'm really going to shower today. I'm going to walk to the library. I'm going to come home. And that's all they got. Like literally, that's all they got. And you got to honor that struggle when you're in that place. Like know that where you're at, it is okay that you're there. And now you're going to need help. And now you're going to have to set up some daily practices just every day, win a little bit. Not like win your dreams, not like crush through goals, not like be a badass, not like, no, just momentum, man. You know, most of the guys I've dealt with in that position who were suicidal, outside of their therapeutic work, I said, the most important thing you can do is win the morning. Just win the morning, man. I think that's true for all of us, even high performers. Like if I don't have my morning routine game, I feel, out of sorts. So I think it's true for everybody. You got to own your morning. You got to win it because that starts and sets up everything else. I know you believe that as well. Like people need that discipline, those routines that will help the rest of their day go better. And I don't want to ever be flippant with the advice to people who are dealing with that situation outside of get some help, get some momentum, and be okay if that momentum is really small because it will build. Trust that momentum builds and trust that those gloomy and bad, dark days, trust that those are going to be there. They'll get less and less and less as you learn how to cope, but they're going to be there.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. If you want even more Brendon Burchard, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Double down on your goodness. You want to have an exceptional and incredible 2020? You want to find purpose this year? Double down on your goodness. Adopt the role model mindset and say, how can I be a role model?